Admiral Sarah Chun stared out at the massive space station floating before them. Nexus Prime was bigger than any city on Earth. Its metal surface gleamed in the light of distant stars. After 3 months of travel through space, humanity had finally reached the heart of galactic civilization. "It's beautiful," whispered Dr. Marcus Webb, Earth's chief diplomat. He stood beside Chun on the bridge of the ESS Horizon, humanity's first interstellar vessel. "Hard to believe we're really here." Chun nodded but kept her expression calm. As the leader of Earth's first contact team, she had to stay focused. 3 years ago, radio signals from space had changed everything. The signals came from something called the Galactic Council. They said they wanted to meet humanity and welcome them into the galaxy. The alien ship that approached them looked like nothing humans had ever built. It was smooth and curved, with no sharp edges. When it docked with Nexus Prime, the airlock opened with a soft hiss. The first alien to step through was tall and thin, with blue skin and 4 arms. Its voice came through a translation device. "Welcome, humans of Earth. I am Council Speaker Veltar. We have waited long to meet your species." Dr. Webb stepped forward with a smile. "Thank you for this opportunity. Humanity is honored to be here." The speaker's large eyes seemed to study them carefully. "Come. The Council wishes to learn about your people." The meeting hall was enormous. 12 different alien species sat around a circular table. Some looked almost human, while others were so strange that Chun had to remind herself not to stare. Each species had ruled the galaxy for thousands of years. They had technology that seemed like magic to humans. "Earth is young," said Council Member Zektar, a creature with gray skin and sharp teeth. "Your people show great promise. We wish to help you grow." Over the next few hours, the aliens explained their offer. They would share their technology with humanity. They would protect Earth from dangerous species in the galaxy. In return, humans would join the Galactic Council and follow their laws of peace. "Peace is everything," Speaker Veltar explained. "For 50,000 years, we have kept the galaxy stable. War brings only suffering. We help young species avoid the mistakes of the past." Dr. Webb looked excited. "What kind of help are you offering?" "Medical technology to end disease. Energy systems to power your world. Ships to travel between stars. All we ask is trust." Chun felt something was wrong, but she could not say what. The offer seemed too good. "What do you need from us in return?" "Information," said Council Member Dex, a creature with tentacles instead of arms. "We must understand your military strength, your population centers, your resources. This helps us plan proper integration." Dr. Webb signed the agreement that same day. Chun wanted to wait, but Earth government had already decided. Humanity needed the alien technology to survive and grow among the stars. The next 3 years changed everything for humanity. Alien medicine ended cancer and most diseases. New energy systems gave Earth unlimited clean power. Humans built colonies on dozens of worlds. The population grew from 8 billion to 12 billion as people lived. Longer and healthier lives. Dr. Elena Vasquez worked as Earth's head scientist on Nexus Prime. She studied alien biology and technology. At first, everything seemed wonderful. The aliens shared their knowledge freely. They seemed genuinely interested in human culture and art. But slowly, Elena began to notice strange things. Alien computers contained files about hundreds of extinct species. When she asked about them, the aliens said they had destroyed themselves in wars. Elena found this hard to believe. So many species could not all have made the same mistake. Late one night, Elena managed to access restricted alien communications. What she found made her blood run cold. The messages were about something called preemptive pacification. The Council had not waited for species to start wars. They had attacked first, wiping out entire civilizations before they could become threats. The files contained detailed plans about Earth, human military bases, population centers, and resource locations were all marked. The Council had been studying humanity for 3 years, preparing for something they called the cleansing. Elena tried to contact Admiral Chun immediately, but the communication channels were blocked. She ran to the emergency beacon, but alien security forces were already waiting for her. As they dragged her away, she could see through the station's windows. Hundreds of alien warships were moving toward the hyperspace gates that led to Earth. On Earth, Admiral Chun was inspecting the new orbital defense stations. The aliens had helped humans build them, claiming they were necessary protection against space pirates. Now Chun realized the truth. The stations were not meant to protect Earth. They were meant to make sure humans could not escape what was coming. The attack began at exactly midnight, Earth time. Alien warships emerged from hyperspace in perfect formation. The orbital defense stations that humans had built turned their weapons on Earth cities instead of defending them. Nuclear fire rained down on New York, London, Tokyo, and hundreds of other cities. Earth's space fleet tried to fight back, but it was hopeless. The human ships were based on alien technology. The Council knew every weakness, every system that could be disabled. Within 6 hours, 90% of Earth's ships were destroyed. Admiral Chun watched from the command center on Luna Base as her homeworld burned. The blue and green planet she had known all her life was now covered in fire and smoke. Billions of people were dying while she stood helpless. Why? She whispered into her communication device, hoping some alien would answer. Speaker Valtar's voice came through the speakers. His tone was sad but firm. Because you would have destroyed us all, given time. Every young species believes they are different. Every young species grows aggressive and dangerous. We have seen it happen 800 times before. We end the threat before it begins. We trusted you, Chun said, her voice breaking. Yes, that made it easier. Goodbye, Admiral Chun. Your species fought well, but briefly. The communication went dead. Chun looked around at her surviving officers. Less than 2 million humans remained alive, scattered across space in mining ships, exploration vessels, and a few military craft that had been far from Earth during the attack. As Earth continued to burn below them, Admiral Chun made a promise to herself and to the memory of her dead world. The Galactic Council thought they had destroyed humanity. They were wrong. The survivors would remember this betrayal. Someday, somehow, there would be a reckoning dot in the distance. Alien ships were already moving away from Earth's solar system. Their work was finished. Another dangerous species had been eliminated. The galaxy was safe once again, or so they believed. 6 months after Earth's destruction, Admiral Sarah Chun stood on the bridge of the ESS Defiance, looking out at 200 ships floating in the darkness of deep space. These vessels were all that remained of humanity. Mining ships, cargo haulers, exploration craft, and a few military vessels that had survived the alien attack. 2 million people lived in this ragtag fleet. They were hungry, scared, and angry. Every day, Chum received reports of fights breaking out between survivors. Some wanted revenge against the aliens. Others just wanted to find a safe place to hide and rebuild their lives. Admiral, said Captain Torres, her second in command, we're receiving a signal on an old Earth military frequency. Chun's heart jumped. Put it through. The voice that came through the speakers was one Chun had not heard in 20 years. Sarah, this is Harrison Clark. If you're out there, we need to talk. Admiral Harrison Clark had been Chun's rival at the Naval Academy. They had competed for every promotion, disagreed on strategy, and generally disliked each other. But Chun had never been happier to hear someone's voice. Harry, where the hell are you? About 3 light years from your position. I'm broadcasting coordinates for a meeting. Come along and bring whoever you trust most. 2 days later, Chum met Clark at an abandoned asteroid mining station. He looked older, his hair completely gray now, but his eyes still held the same sharp intelligence she remembered. With him were 50 other humans, all wearing uniforms Chun did not recognize. Deep Space Reconnaissance Unit 7, Clark explained. We've been out here for 20 years, mapping the galaxy and studying alien technology. When Earth was attacked, we were investigating dead ships in the void. The void? Dr. Webb asked. He had survived Earth's destruction and now served as Chun's advisor. A region of space that aliens avoid, Clark said. Dark matter storms make navigation dangerous. Perfect place to hide something you don't want found. Clark led them to his ship's cargo bay. Inside were dozens of alien artifacts, weapons, and computer systems. We've been collecting this for years. The brass thought we were wasting time, but we knew first contact was too easy. Too convenient. Chun picked up a strange weapon that hummed with energy. You knew they would betray us? Not specifically. But I knew that any species that controlled the galaxy for 50,000 years didn't get there by being nice. Clark activated a holographic display. Look at this. The display showed a map of the galaxy with hundreds of red dots scattered across it. Each dot is a dead civilization. All of them were destroyed by the Galactic Council. The pattern is always the same. First contact to integration, then extinction. Dr. Webb studied the map carefully. How many species have they killed? 812 that we know of. Could be more. Clark's face was grim. They've been doing this since before humans learned to use fire. Chun felt sick. 800 species. All of them eliminated for the same reason. The Council called them evolutionary threats. Species that might challenge their control if allowed to develop. Clark pointed to a section of the map. But we also found something else in the void. The display changed to show other ships moving through dark space. They were strange designs that Chen did not recognize. Survivors, Clark said. Some species managed to escape the Council's genocide. They've been hiding in the void for thousands of years. The Krillians, the Zephyrians, the Nexus Minds, all of them were betrayed the same way we were. Chun's mind raced. How many of them are there? Millions of individuals. Maybe billions if we count the artificial intelligences. They've been waiting for someone with the technology and knowledge to fight back against the Council. Dr. Webb looked confused. But if they've been hiding for so long, why haven't they fought back already? Clark smiled grimly. Because they were missing something: leadership, coordination, and most importantly, someone with detailed knowledge of current Council technology and tactics. Us? Chun realized. Exactly. The Council made a mistake when they taught us their technology. They gave us 3 years to study their systems, their weaknesses, their blind spots. Clark activated another display showing technical diagrams. While they thought we were learning to be good little members of their galactic community, some of us were preparing for war. Chun stared at the ship designs on the screen. They looked like human vessels, but different. Sleeker, more advanced. What am I looking at? The Retribution Fleet. For 20 years, automated shipyards in the Kuiper Belt have been building these ships. We designed them using everything we learned about alien technology, combined with human innovation they never expected. Dr. Webb's eyes went wide. 20 years? But first contact was only 3 years ago. Clark's smile was cold. We've known about alien signals for much longer than the public was told. We've been preparing for this day since before you were born. Chun felt hope for the first time since Earth's destruction. How many ships? 2,000 when construction is complete. each one worth 10 council vessels in a straight fight. Clark's expression became serious. But ships alone won't win this war. We need allies, resources, and most importantly, we need to be smarter than an enemy who has won every war for 50,000 years. Over the next few hours, Clark showed Chun everything his team had discovered. Hidden bases in the void, alien refugees eager to fight, weaknesses in council technology that only humans had noticed. Most importantly, he showed her the truth about their enemy. The council isn't evil, Clark explained. They genuinely believe they're protecting the galaxy. In their minds, eliminating young species prevents galactic wars that would kill trillions. They see themselves as gardeners, cutting away dangerous growth before it can spread. Chun's hands clenched into fists. They murdered our families. Yes, and they'll do it again to any species that threatens their control. That's why we have to stop them. Not for revenge, though that's part of it. We have to stop them because they'll keep killing until there's nothing left in the galaxy but slaves and corpses. Dr. Webb looked thoughtful. You said the alien refugees need leadership. What makes you think they'll follow humans? Clark activated one final display. It showed a battle between council forces and unknown ships. Last week, a small group of Kryllian survivors attempted to raid a council supply depot. They were slaughtered. But before they died, they sent a message to every refugee group in the void. The recording played in the alien Kryllian language, but subtitles appeared on the screen. The humans have returned. The ones who fought at Earth, the ones who survived the cleansing. They are coming. Chun read the subtitles twice, not believing what she saw. They're waiting for us? Word travels fast among the oppressed. Every refugee species knows that humans are the first to survive a council attack in 3,000 years. To them, we represent something they thought was impossible. Hope. Chun looked around at Clark's team, at Dr. Webb, and finally at the display showing the hidden fleet under construction. The rage she had carried since Earth's destruction was still there, but now it had purpose. What do you need from me? She asked. Clark's smile was sharp as a blade. Help me unite these refugees into a real fighting force. Help me finish building the fleet that will burn the council to ash. And help me show the galaxy that humanity is not just another extinct species. Chun extended her hand. After 20 years of rivalry, she and Clark finally had something to agree on. Let's bring them hell. 2 years had passed since Admiral Chun and Admiral Clark joined their forces in the void. The hidden refugee base had grown from a few scattered ships into something that resembled a proper military installation. Humans worked alongside aliens who had been hiding in the dark for generations. Chun walked through the main hangar bay, watching human engineers work with Kryllian warriors to modify their new warships. The vessels looked unlike anything the galaxy had ever seen. They were smaller than council dreadnoughts, but packed with weapons and armor that combined the best of human and alien technology. The first squadron is ready for testing, reported Commander Sarah Kim, Chun's chief engineer. She had been a teacher on Earth before the attack. Now she designed weapon systems that could crack council shields. Chun nodded and moved to the next bay, where Dr. Elena Vasquez was working with a team of Nexus minds. The artificial intelligence refugees appeared as glowing spheres that floated through the air. But their intellect was beyond anything humans had encountered. We have found a weakness, announced Primary Node 7, one of the AI entities. Its voice came from speakers built into the walls. The hyperlane network that connects the galaxy has security flaws that its builders never expected anyone to exploit. Elena looked up from her computer screen, excitement in her eyes. The Council built the network to control galactic travel. Every hyperspace jump goes through nodes they monitor. But we found a way to hack into the system. Show me, Chun said. Elena activated a holographic display showing the galaxy's transportation network. Bright lines connected thousands of star systems, creating a web that spanned the entire galaxy. The network has emergency protocols. If a hyperlane node detects certain threats, it can shut down or redirect traffic. Primary Node 7 continued the explanation. These protocols were designed to prevent accidents. But Jin Watanabe's team has found a way to trigger them deliberately. Jin Watanabe had been Earth's best computer programmer before the attack. Now he led a team of human hackers and Nexus minds in cyber warfare that the Council had never imagined possible. We can trap entire fleets in hyperspace, Jin explained as he joined the group. Or we can redirect their jumps, make them emerge inside stars or asteroid fields. The Council thinks their network is perfect, but every system has flaws if you know where to look. Chun smiled. This was the first time she had felt confident about their chances since the war began. How long before we can use this weapon? The next major test is in 3 days, Elena said. We're going to liberate Krillian Prime. Krillian Prime was the homeworld of their most numerous alien allies. The Council had enslaved the surviving population after declaring their warrior culture too dangerous for galactic peace. For 50 years, millions of Krillians had worked in Council mines and factories. Admiral Clark appeared in the hangar, accompanied by war leader Thokvar, the highest-ranking Krillian refugee. Thokvar stood 8 feet tall, with thick gray skin and 4 arms that ended in claws. His people had been warriors before the Council's betrayal, and they were eager to fight again. The reconnaissance mission is complete, Clark reported. Council forces on Krillian Prime total 200 ships and 50,000 ground troops. They expect no serious resistance. Thokvar's eyes glowed with anger. My people have suffered for 50 years. It is time for freedom. Chun studied the tactical display. 200 ships is still a lot, even for our new vessels. Clark's smile was cold. That's why we're not going to fight them conventionally. The Council has fought the same way for thousands of years. Formation flying, honor duels, predictable tactics. They've never faced an enemy that refuses to follow their rules. Over the next 3 days, the human-led coalition prepared for their first real battle. The Burning Fleet, as it had come to be called, consisted of 100 ships crewed by humans, Krillians, Zephyrians, and Nexus minds working together. Chun commanded from the ESS Retribution, the first ship completed by the hidden shipyards. Clark led a second squadron aboard the ESS Vengeance. Both vessels incorporated stealth technology that the Council had never encountered, and weapon systems that broke every convention of galactic warfare. All ships report. Ready, announced Captain Torres from his position at the tactical station. Chun took a deep breath. Since Earth's destruction, she had dreamed of this moment. Begin the operation. The fleet jumped into hyperspace, but not toward Krillian Prime. Instead, they emerged in an empty star system 3 sectors away. Jin Watanabe's team immediately began hacking into the hyperlane network, preparing to spring their trap. Council fleet detected, reported the ship's AI. A Nexus mine called Oracle Mine. They are moving to intercept refugee transport ships as expected. The refugee ships were decoys, of course. Chum had sent them to draw the Council fleet away from Krillian Prime, as the alien warships pursued what they thought were fleeing survivors. They had no idea they were flying into a carefully planned ambush. Network hack complete, Jin announced. Council fleet is trapped in hyperspace, redirecting their exit point now. On the tactical display, Chum watched as 200 Council ships emerged from hyperspace directly into the gravity well of a gas giant. The massive planet's gravitational field tore apart the smaller vessels while the larger ships struggled to escape. Now we go to Krillian Prime, Chun ordered. The Liberation fleet jumped again, emerging in orbit around the Krillian homeworld. Without their main battle fleet, the Council garrison was caught completely off guard. Chen's ships appeared from hyperspace like ghosts, their stealth systems hiding them until they were already firing. The battle lasted only 30 minutes. Council ships designed for formation combat could not adapt to the human tactics of hit-and-run attacks, electronic warfare, and weapons that targeted psychological weaknesses rather than just physical ones. When the surviving alien vessels tried to retreat, they found the hyperlane network turned against them, trapping them in the system. On the planet's surface, Krillian resistance fighters emerged from hiding as human marines and freed slaves attacked Council facilities. War leader Thukvar led the assault on the main prison complex, his roar of victory echoing across the battlefield as 50 years of slavery ended in a single day. But victory came with a price. Chun stood on the bridge, watching celebration fires burn across Krillian Prime, knowing that they had just announced their existence to the entire galaxy. The Council would no longer dismiss the human survivors as a minor threat. Admiral, Arcal 9 reported. Long-range sensors detect massive fleet movements throughout Council space. They are mobilizing the Grand Armada. Dr. Webb, who had fought alongside Chun throughout the battle, looked worried. How big is this Grand Armada? Clark's voice came through the communication system from his ship. Intelligence estimates put it at 10,000 vessels, the largest military force assembled in galactic history. Chun felt the weight of what they had started. Every refugee in the void, every oppressed species in the galaxy, was now looking to humanity for leadership. The Council had responded to their liberation of one world by preparing to exterminate every rebel in the galaxy. Orders, Admiral? Captain Torres asked quietly. Chun looked out at the celebrating Krillians on the world below, then at the tactical display showing Council fleet movements across the galaxy. They had started something that could not be stopped. The only choice now was to see it through to the end. Send a message to all refugee fleets in the void. Tell them the time for hiding is over. Her voice carried across the bridge with quiet determination. If the Council wants a war, we'll give them one they'll never forget. As reports came in of other worlds beginning to rebel, Chun realized that the liberation of Krillian Prime was not just a victory. It was the spark that would set the entire galaxy on fire. Fleet Admiral Zektar of the Hegemony species stood in the command center of the Council flagship, Eternal Peace, watching holographic displays that showed rebellion spreading across the galaxy. In his 300 years of service, he had never seen such widespread chaos. How many systems are in revolt? He asked his aide, a younger Hegemony officer named Krelzer. 47 confirmed, sir. Another 100 showing signs of unrest. The human survivors seemed to be coordinating multiple resistance cells simultaneously. Zektar's sharp teeth clicked together in annoyance. Humans, I told the Council we should have been more thorough, hunting down every last refugee ship instead of assuming the threat was eliminated. The Grand Armada stretched across space around the massive flagship. 10,000 warships representing the combined might of 12 species that had ruled the galaxy for millennia. It was the largest military force ever assembled, designed to crush the rebellion once and for all. Sir, incoming priority message from Admiral Chun of the Human Forces. Zektar's eyes narrowed. The human commander had been sending taunts and propaganda broadcasts for weeks, trying to turn his own crews against the Council. Put her through. Admiral Chun's face appeared on the main screen. She looked older than when Zektar had last seen her at Earth's destruction, but her eyes still burned with the same defiance. Admiral Zektar, I hear you're bringing quite a fleet to visit us. Admiral Chun, your rebellion ends today. Surrender now, and I will ensure your people are given quick deaths instead of the slow extinction the Council originally planned. Chun's smile was cold. That's generous of you. But I have a counteroffer. Surrender your fleet, step down from the Council, and help us build a galaxy where no species has to live in fear of extinction. What do you say? Zektar laughed, a harsh sound that echoed through his ship's bridge. You command less than 200 vessels against my 10,000. Your overconfidence will be your downfall. We'll see about that. Chun's image disappeared from the screen. Krelzer looked worried. Sir, should we be concerned about their confidence? Our intelligence suggests they have some kind of secret weapon. They have tricks and stolen technology, Zektar replied dismissively. But tricks cannot overcome overwhelming force. Begin the advance. The Grand Armada moved toward the void where intelligence reports placed the main rebel fleet. Zektar expected a glorious battle where superior numbers and discipline would crush the human uprising. He had studied every conflict in galactic history, and no force had ever defeated such overwhelming odds. He was wrong. The attack began not with ship-to-ship combat, but with the hyperlane network itself turning against the Council fleet. As Armada ships jumped between systems, Jin Watanabe's hacking teams redirected their routes. Entire squadrons emerged from hyperspace inside asteroid fields or dangerously close to stellar phenomena. Navigation systems are compromised, reported Krelzer as warning alarms sounded throughout the flagship. Multiple ships reporting forced emergency exits from hyperspace. Zektar watched his carefully organized fleet scatter across 3 star systems. Victims of network manipulation he had never imagined possible. How are they doing this? His answer came in the form of human ships appearing throughout his formation like ghosts. The rebel vessels used stealth technology and unconventional tactics that violated every principle of civilized warfare. Instead of announcing themselves and demanding honorable combat, they struck from hiding and disappeared before return fire could find them. Lieutenant Commander Sarah Kim commanded the weapons of the ESS Retribution as it materialized behind a Council heavy cruiser. Her targeting computer locked onto the enemy ship's engines and life support systems rather than its shields and armor. Target their ability to fight back, not their ability to survive, Admiral Chun had ordered. We're not trying to be honorable. We're trying to win. Kim's weapons disabled the cruiser in seconds. As the enemy ship drifted helplessly, Chun's voice came over the fleet communication channel. Council vessel, this is Admiral Chun. Your ship is disabled, but your crew is alive. Abandon ship immediately, and we will pick up your escape pods. You have 2 minutes. It was a tactic the Council had never encountered. Instead of destroying ships and killing everyone aboard, the humans were capturing prisoners and treating them well. Word spread quickly through Council ranks that surrender meant survival, not death. Marine Colonel David Santos led ground assault teams on liberated worlds, fighting Council garrisons that had expected easy victories over primitive rebels. His soldiers moved through urban areas with support from local populations who had suffered under Council rule for generations. Remember, Santos told his troops before each battle, we're not conquering these worlds. We're liberating them. The people here are not our enemies, even if some of them work for the Council. It was a difficult balance. Some Council loyalists fought to the death, believing human propaganda about genocide and revenge. Others surrendered when they realized the rebels were not the monsters they had been told about. Santos had to make split-second decisions about who was a threat and who was just scared. The psychological impact of human tactics spread faster than their ships. Council crews began to question orders when they realized the rebels offered mercy to those who surrendered. Some alien species that had served the Council for centuries started to wonder if their rulers were lying to them about other things as well. Admiral Clark coordinated attacks across multiple sectors, using the refugee networks that had hidden in the void for thousands of years. Zephyrian stealth ships struck Council supply lines, while Krillian warriors led uprisings on mining worlds. The Nexus mined artificial intelligences disrupted Council communications and hacked their computer systems. The key is unpredictability, Clark explained during a strategy meeting with other rebel commanders. They fought the same way for millennia. Honor, formation flying, warning your enemy before you attack. We do the opposite of everything they expect. But the war was not without cost. Dr. Webb struggled with intercepted communications from Council. Worlds where civilian populations faced food shortages as supply lines collapsed. Some planets descended into chaos as local governments fell and different factions fought for control. Are we helping these people or making their lives worse? Webb asked Chun during a quiet moment between battles. Chun stared out at the stars, remembering Earth's blue skies and green forests. The Council killed billions of my people to maintain their version of peace. How many more billions will they kill over the next 1,000 years if we don't stop them? Sometimes you have to break something before you can fix it. The turning point came at the Battle of the Binary Stars, where Zektar finally managed to corner a significant portion of the human fleet. He brought 2,000 ships against Chun's 300, confident that overwhelming numbers would finally end the rebellion. The battle raged for 18 hours across 2 star systems. Council ships fought with discipline and courage, but they could not adapt to human tactics fast enough. When Chun's forces used the binary stars' gravitational fields to slingshot their ships at impossible velocities, Zektar's formation broke apart. "Sir," Krauser reported with defeat in his voice, "we've lost 800 ships. The humans have lost less than 50. Zektar stared at the tactical display, finally understanding what he faced. They're not just better equipped. They think differently than we do. Every assumption we make about warfare, they prove wrong." As Council fleets retreated from system after system, rebellion spread to species that had never considered challenging the galactic order. The carefully maintained stability of 50,000 years began to crumble as people across the galaxy asked why they had accepted Council rule for so long. Admiral Chun stood on the bridge of the Retribution, receiving reports of victories from across the galaxy. But each victory came with a cost. Refugee camps overflowed with displaced civilians. Trade networks collapsed, causing shortages on worlds that depended on galactic commerce. Some liberated planets faced civil wars as different groups fought over power. Admiral Oracle 9 announced, "Long-range sensors detect movement from Nexus Prime. The Council is evacuating their capital." Chun felt a mixture of satisfaction and sadness. They were winning, but the galaxy was burning in the process. Everything the Council had built over millennia was falling apart, and she was not sure what would replace it. "Set course for Nexus Prime," she ordered. "It's time to finish this." Behind her, the greatest fleet in human history began moving toward the heart of galactic civilization, carrying with it the hopes and fears of countless species who had dreamed of freedom but never dared to fight for it. Nexus Prime hung in space like a dying star, its lights flickering as power systems failed throughout the massive station. Admiral Chun watched from the bridge of the ESS Retribution as her fleet approached the heart of galactic civilization. After 3 years of war, she was finally returning to the place where humanity's nightmare had begun. "Station defenses are minimal," reported Captain Torres. "Most of the Council fleet has withdrawn to the inner systems. They're making their last stand at the galactic core." Chun nodded, but kept her attention focused on the space station ahead. Nexus Prime had been the symbol of Council power for 50,000 years. Now it looked like a broken monument to a dead empire. "Admiral," Oracle 9 announced, "incoming transmission from the station. Speaker Veltar requests parley." The same alien who had welcomed humanity 3 years ago now appeared on Chine's screen. His blue skin looked pale, and his forearms trembled slightly. Behind him, Chun could see council chambers filled with aliens from the 12 ruling species. Admiral Chun, I congratulate you on your victory. But surely, we can reach an agreement that ends this destruction. Chun studied the alien's face, remembering how he had smiled while explaining the council's offer of friendship and protection. What kind of agreement did you have in mind, Speaker? The council recognizes that humanity deserves representation in galactic government. We offer you full membership, a voice in all decisions, and guarantees that no species will face extinction again. Dr. Webb, standing beside Chun, looked hopeful. That's what we wanted from the beginning. Maybe we can end this peacefully. But Chun's expression remained cold. 3 years too late, Speaker. You had your chance to treat us as equals. Instead, you chose genocide. Veltar's large eyes showed desperation. The council acted out of fear, not malice. Young species have destroyed galaxies before. We thought we were protecting trillions of lives by murdering billions of others. Chun's voice cut through the alien's excuses like a blade. How many species have you eliminated, Speaker? How many civilizations erased because they might someday pose a threat? The greater good sometimes requires difficult choices. The greater good. Chun interrupted. Your greater good killed my family. Your greater good turned Earth into a graveyard. Your greater good enslaved entire species for thousands of years. Fleet Admiral Zektar's voice came through the communication channel from his flagship nearby. Admiral Chun, the Council offers terms of surrender. We will dissolve our government and allow individual species to govern themselves. Surely that is enough. Chun looked at the tactical display showing Council ships throughout the system. Even in defeat, they commanded thousands of vessels and millions of soldiers. And what guarantees do we have that you won't simply rebuild your power once we leave? You have our word, Veltar said. Chun laughed bitterly. Your word. Like the word you gave humanity when you promised us peace and partnership? Admiral Clark's voice came through the fleet communication system. Sarah, we're receiving reports from across the galaxy. Some liberated worlds are descending into chaos. Without council authority, local governments are collapsing. Chun felt the weight of responsibility settling on her shoulders. Destroying the old order was easier than building a new one. How bad is it? Food riots on 17 worlds. 3 star systems have declared independence and are fighting each other for resources. The Zephyrian Confederacy is demanding territory that belongs to the Krillian Republic. Dr. Webb looked worried. Maybe we need some kind of transitional authority. Someone to maintain order while new governments form. And who would that be? Chun asked. Us? Do we become the new galactic rulers? Replace one empire with another? On the screen, Speaker Veltar leaned forward. You see the problem, Admiral. The galaxy needs structure, order, without central authority. Chaos spreads and billions suffer. Chun stared at the alien leader, understanding for the first time why the council had survived for so long. Fear of chaos was a powerful force. People would accept tyranny if it meant safety and stability. Jin, she called to her chief cyber warfare officer. Status on the hyperlane network? Under our complete control, Admiral. We can shut down travel between any systems we choose, or open new routes that bypass council monitoring stations. Chun made her decision. Speaker Veltar, here are my terms. The council will dissolve immediately. All species will be granted complete independence. The hyperlane network will be controlled by a new organization that represents all galactic civilizations equally. And if we refuse? Zektar asked. Chun's smile was as cold as the vacuum of space. Then we finish what you started. Every council ship, every council world, every trace of your empire burns until nothing is left but ash and memory. The silence stretched for long minutes. Finally, Veltar spoke. You would commit genocide to prevent genocide? If necessary. Chen's voice carried no doubt. The difference is that we're giving you a choice. You never gave one to the 800 species you exterminated. Admiral Clark's private channel crackled to life. Sarah, are you sure about this? We're talking about potentially killing trillions of innocent civilians. Chun closed her eyes, seeing Earth's burning cities in her memory. How many innocent civilians did they kill over the last 50,000 years? How many more will they kill if we let them survive? Dr. Webb touched her arm gently. This isn't who we wanted to become. No, Chun agreed. But it's who we need to be. Sometimes the only way to stop a monster is to become one yourself. Speaker Veltar's shoulders sagged in defeat. The Council accepts your terms. We will transmit dissolution orders to all our forces. Smart choice. Chun turned to her crew. Begin occupation of Nexus Prime. I want full control of all Council databases and communication systems. Over the next several days, Chun's forces took control of the galactic capital. The process was surprisingly peaceful. Most Council personnel simply laid down their weapons and waited for instructions. Some even seemed relieved that the war was over. Chun found herself standing in the same chamber where humanity had first been welcomed to the galactic community. Now she sat in the speaker's chair, surrounded by holographic displays showing the state of galactic civilization. It was not a pretty picture. 17 species had declared independence and immediately started fighting their neighbors. Trade networks had collapsed, causing food shortages on worlds that could not feed themselves. Refugee fleets wandered between systems, looking for new homes. The Krillian Republic is demanding reparations from former Council species, reported Captain Torres. The Zephyrian Confederacy wants exclusive mining rights in the void, and there are at least 30 different groups claiming to represent humanity's interests. Chun rubbed her temples, feeling a headache building. Any word from the colonies we established before Earth's destruction? Most are declaring independence from Earth authority. They say they don't recognize the legitimacy of a government elected by dead voters. Admiral Clark joined her in the chamber, looking as tired as she felt. Second thoughts about dissolving the Council? Every minute of every day, Chun admitted. But we can't go back. We broke the old system. Now we have to build something better. Dr. Webb appeared on a communication screen from the Refugee Coordination Center he was running. Sarah, we're getting requests for help from hundreds of worlds. They want everything from food aid to military protection to technical assistance. What do you recommend? We establish a new organization. Not a ruling council, but a cooperative alliance. Species that want to join can benefit from shared resources and protection. Those that don't can go their own way. Chun considered the proposal. And who leads this alliance? Webb's expression was serious. No one. Everyone gets an equal vote regardless of how powerful or numerous their species is. Decisions require consensus, not majority rule. That will never work, Clark objected. You'll have thousands of species trying to agree on every decision. Nothing will get done. Maybe that's better than having 12 species make decisions for everyone else, Webb replied. Chun stood up and walked to the chamber's massive windows. Outside, she could see ships from dozens of species working together to repair Nexus Prime's damaged systems. Humans, Krillians, Zephyrians, and others who had been enemies or strangers were learning to cooperate. We'll try Webb's idea, she decided, but with modifications. The Alliance handles trade, communication, and mutual defense. Individual systems govern themselves however they want. 6 months later, Chun stood on the observation deck of a new space station being built in the former void. The Galactic Alliance headquarters was smaller than Nexus Prime had been, but it represented something different. Instead of imposing order from above, it provided a place for equals to meet and solve problems together. Admiral Clark joined her, carrying a datapad with reports from across the galaxy. "How are we doing?" "Better than I expected, worse than I hoped," Chun replied. 43 species have joined the Alliance so far. Trade is slowly resuming. The fighting has mostly stopped. And the Council species? Most of them have adapted. The Hegemony actually apologized for their role in the genocides. They're contributing warships to Alliance peacekeeping forces. Chun paused. Zektar asked to meet with me next week. Clark raised an eyebrow.